Hey guys, Marsengan here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so after waiting for any sort of crumb of news, I know I had to work today. I was live the last 2 days waiting, hoping something would drop. I know Toon was live today, I was hanging out in his stream. And we have still yet to receive any news about what the Part 2 LR is going to be for Golden Week. We did, however, get a little bit of news. We are getting a new Infinite Dragon Ball History stage on both versions, which is versus the participants of the 23rd World Tournament. And we are getting an event revamp for this very, very old free-to-play Youth Bulma, Tech 1. Now, I remember when she came out, I think she was the first ever unit that had her own farmable hidden potential orbs, so you could get her to Rainbow without having to use any of your, at the time, quite limited supply, right? Like back then, getting orbs was nowhere near as regular and easy as it is now. So her being a unit that everybody could have Rainbow for free was pretty cool, and she was pretty good when she first came out. So whilst the details in the news don't specify this at all, it heavily implies that she's going to get an Easy A, right? Because it seems very weird to renew her event, which makes it easier to farm the copies of her card, because I believe the drop rate is either like next to 0 or it's actually impossible to get extra copies. I'm not even sure. This event is so old. So it seems kind of pointless. Why would you bring this back and make the unit available to get for people again if the unit just sucks, right? Because this unit is unusable in the current meta. So heavily implies that this unit is going to get an Easy A. However, that was all the news that we got. So we still have no idea what the LR is going to be for Part 2. With these appearing in the news now, I would assume that these are going to release on what will be either Monday morning or Tuesday morning. For me in the UK, it is currently Saturday afternoon. The news came out Saturday morning, so it'll have been late Friday, depending on where you are in the US. So we're still going to have nothing really to chew on for the next couple of days. And I've seen a lot of people, as each day has passed and no news has come out, especially about the Part 2 stuff, people calling this the worst Golden Week celebration of all time. So I wanted to take a little bit of a look in this video and see if that actually is the case. We're going to look at this one and look at the previous 2 years. Let me know what you guys think now at this sort of starting point of the video down below in the comments. Or you can wait till the end, of course, and let me know what your opinion was at the start, and then whether it changed at all once we actually looked through the details. And yeah, are we going to get Part 2 news tomorrow? Mega Copium? Probably not, because it's Sunday. At this point, we're probably not going to find out until right before the data download, which is what JP did with the Super Boo release. So we still might not actually get a reveal of the Part 2 LR until Monday. So let's take a look at the actual celebration. So this is the global version, Aim for the Top Dokkan campaign. So this obviously launched on Friday the 28th. We got a dual Dokkan Fest with the new Goku and Piccolo. Obviously we got their Dokkan events, you know, the usual stuff, sales, blue stone, stuff like that. We got the return of the Guru event, which is really good for link leveling. The thing is though, the way I like to look at these sort of celebrations is, let's look at them in terms of how much actual content did we get. And when I say that, I don't mean how many events did we get, but how much content was there to actually play, right? So the Guru event, once a day, and you beat it in like 30 seconds, right? So whilst it is very good, very useful event, it would be nice if it was around more often. Not exactly, you know, a huge slice of content. We got the Easy A revamp for Mercenary Tao. Now this does take a little bit longer, especially if you're farming him up from scratch. Potentially around an hour or two to get him fully farmed up and awakened and everything. Get the free second copy done so you can get into SA20. So a little bit of a bigger slice of content there. However, unfortunately, Mercenary Tao kind of sucks. So it's worth doing to get the stones, to get the actual mission rewards. But unfortunately, the unit himself, not really worth having. If you're a newer player, completely free to play, then I guess he could potentially have some use, but not a very great unit. New stage of Boss Rush. Now, in terms of time investment, Boss Rush is probably one of the longer events that we still get in the game. But I'm sure most people would agree, like, this event is not really in any way exciting or fun. I mean, there are ways you could make it fun for yourself, right, by using less meta teams, but you bring like any 200% team into Boss Rush and you're just going to absolutely crush it, right? Because Dokkan events have not been difficult now for years, so they could release a Boss Rush with like 20 fights in a row and it still wouldn't be difficult. It's just time consuming. When Boss Rush was first released, it was a cool event because back then, Dokkan events would sometimes require you to actually use items. So having to do 5 Dokkan events back to back with only one set of items could potentially be a challenge. Whereas obviously now, it's so easy to just no item Dokkan events. Like I say, you could do 20 in a row and it probably wouldn't be difficult at all, right? The only ones that are exceptions are things like the UI Goku one where there's the phase where he one-shots you with the Spirit Bomb. So if you get unlucky and he's attacking you in slot 1, you basically have to rely on a dodge character or use an item, right? So Boss Rush, I mean, it is a bit of content, right? And it's 35 stones, so not bad. We got 2 stages of Super Battle Road, so that's definitely good. Super Battle Road is still a fun mode, although I would argue, again, especially with the advent of 200% leads, it has become quite easy. Now, obviously, they are category restricted, so it's going to depend on your box. But if you can run like a 200% team that fits that category, then Super Battle Road is pretty easy. All Dokkan events available, all the Easy A's are re-available. This is cool. There's a ton of these that I'd only done up to stage 30, and I'm slowly but surely working through getting them all done to stage 100. So I think I currently have close to 5,000 Hercule statues. We've got some more story events reopen, which always happens. The revamp of Battlefield is always nice, right? A few extra stones, changes up the fights a little bit. And then we got the Extreme Z Awakening for Piccolo. This was on the 2nd of the 5th, right? So the actual first stuff released on the 28th. That was the Boss Rush, the Super Battle Road stages, the banners. These all came out at the same time, right? Then it was 1 full week later, we got the Piccolo Easy A. And that was it. That kind of just dropped by itself. And then 6 days later, we got everybody's favourite game mode, Super Battle Road. So what that means is, if this came out a week after the banners, and this came out 6 days after that, that means that in, 13 days, the only thing that Dokkan released was an Easy A, which Easy A's are good. Physical Piccolo is really good, but it's basically just updating a very old unit, and nobody really likes 30-stage Easy A's. We got a 30-stage Easy A and Chain Battle, most people's least favourite mode, and those were the only 2 things we got in 13 days. Apart from the Goku Day stuff, which again, this year compared to previous years, the Goku Day stuff was a little bit disappointing, right? Because it was basically just some daily missions that you can do with good rewards, but again, missions that get completed within like a minute or so, right? So not a huge amount of content, and that's people's principal concern. But as I said at the beginning, we're going to take a look at the previous year's celebrations, because I feel like this happens a lot sometimes when celebrations either don't live up to expectations or they feel like they're being a little bit slow. People are very quick to make these sort of negative judgments on them. But then when we look back at the previous celebration, so this is last year's Golden Week celebration. For some reason on the wiki it's all listed out of order, because here's the Part 2 LR, which is Goku and Gohan. They released on the 13th, which funnily enough is today. So this time last year, the Part 2 LR had already released. And here we are still waiting for news of what it even is. A story event revamp, and then we had the Cell Extreme Z battle. Why are the dates on these different? There's no way these started at different times. The banner always comes out with the Easy A, so I'm assuming it's this that's wrong because the Chain Battle date is later. So that means that the Easy A came out, the same day, and then Chain Battle released, wow, that's 11 days later. Oof. And then we got a Super Battle Road which released on, it was the 23rd. So there's a similar sort of amount of content. If we go back to the actual Dokkan Festival, so there was a dual Dokkan Fest like we have now. We got a chain battle, when was that, the 29th? We got a chain battle like 2 days later. We got an Infinite Dragon Ball History on the same day. We got a Super Battle Road on the same day. We got Extreme Super Battle. So again, this is the same, right? We got Super Battle Road, we got Extreme Super Battle Road. We didn't get a Dragon Ball History in Part 1 this time. And then what was the Part 1 main Easy A? Gohan, that released on the 2nd. So this is in place of the Piccolo, basically. We got Gohan. Battlefield was reset around the same time. We got a Super Strike revamp, which was Trunks instead of Mercenary Tao. So when you look at it, it's actually not really that different, right? Some of the events were spaced out differently by a couple of days, but the actual overall amount of content was basically the same. And then when we look at part 2, this stuff that's for some reason listed at the top, we're all desperately waiting for part 2 to drop so we get more content. But last year we got an LR banner and an easy A, which was for an LR, so it was only 10 stages, which is a better format, but it means even less time spent overall, and then an explosive chain battle, which again people don't really like. So Golden Week last year had 2, which means we may get a second one depending on who the part 2 LR is going to be. But this is the thing that's kind of surprising when you go back and look, is that the Golden Week has never really been like chock full of content. And if we look back at the Gohan, Goku and Goten day from last year, we got some free-to-play Easy A's, and then the same events basically. So last year technically was better because we at least got some Easy A's compared to this year where we basically didn't get anything unit-wise for Goku, Gohan and Goten Day. And then when we look back to the year before, this was the GT Super Saiyans. This is the first time that Golden Week was shared on both versions. We have the Dual Dokkan Fest with their Dokkan events. We have an ESBR and an Infinite Dragon Ball History. So we only got one SBR stage rather than 2, but we got the Infinite Dragon Ball History in part 1. Then we scroll all the way down. We got an Easy A. Oh, this is reopening, so this isn't even new. Battlefield Reset, so common that happens during Golden Week. Then we got the Easy A for the Super Saiyan 4s. That was a pretty big one, right? People were super hyped about that. That was definitely very cool. But again, it's just another 30-stage Extreme Z battle. And then part 2 was LR Super 17, who already on release was not considered to be that great. And then we got a reopening of... Oh, these aren't even new Easy A's. Yeah, so part 2 was literally just LR Super 17. No extra Easy A, no extra, like, chain battle, no extra Super Battle Road stage. So Golden Week has actually fairly commonly been quite a dull celebration in terms of the overall amount of content that has been released. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Obviously I think that it's a bad thing, right? Just because the last couple of years of Golden Week have been pretty dry doesn't mean that this year's should be as well, right? Dokkan should always be looking to improve. I have always said and will continue to say now that Dokkan's biggest issue is that they just drop multiple things on day 1 and then don't drop anything for, like, what was it, we said 13 days we just got Piccolo's Easy A and then a chain battle. Whereas they could have dropped the start of the celebration with the new units. They could have brought out the Infinite Dragon Ball History stage, which we know is going to come out soon, because I'm sure one of the missions is going to be a category that revolves around the new units, right? They usually do stuff like that. So drop the new units and drop the Infinite Dragon Ball History so we have a new stage to use them in on day 1. Maybe drop this as well, right? Because it's good for link leveling. But then drop, like, Boss Rush, like, the next day or 2 days later. Then drop Mercenary Tao, like, 2 days later. Then drop Super Battle Road, maybe at the same time as Mercenary Tao, right? Because that's a different kind of event. Then drop the ESBR, like 2 days later. And therefore you have a slow drip of content rather than 10 things come out on day 1 and then nothing comes out for like 10 days. I think it's a very weird way of them releasing content. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Do you think we will actually see any news tomorrow, or are we actually doomed to wait until Monday? And since obviously everyone's still speculating at this point, let me know who you would like to see as the Part 2 LR down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.